Welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show. We are live, and today we are joined by former Brighton, Sheffield United, Southampton, who else is it? Oh, yeah, many a clubs, and Leicester, of course. Dean Hammond. How you doing? Dean?
I'm great, gents. How are you two?
I'm good. Are you happy with Leicester's win over Man City yesterday?
Oh mate, I'm buzzing. I'm still smiling.
I bet you are.
Oh mate, it's a great victory. It really is, and the goal's a bit special. The end was special with the excitement with VAR as well, which was good.
Yeah.
Having the crowd back in was great as well. So yeah, I'm still buzzing just for the fact that I've still got friends at the club, and
I was going to say there's still
quite
a few people there from when you was playing there, weren't there?
Yeah, and they're good people as well, and you could see at the end what it meant to everyone with the owner coming on, with the fans celebrating, with the players celebrating together. It was class, brilliant to see.
It was a nice story to end it with, especially with the sadness of the previous owner passing away. And I mean, Leicester seems to be that club which is sort of the neutral fans' favourite, winning the Premier League, winning the FA Cup against the Chelsea team, which is all very much about the billionaires. But yeah, no, it was good for everyone yesterday, I think.
It's class, and like you say, I think Leicester are an example to a lot of football clubs. You know, trying to chase that big six team, or so-called big six team. That, you know, they've got all the money, they've got the name, they've got the history, and Leicester are slowly catching them up, and they play a great brand of football. The football clubs run really, really well. I think they've got one of the best managers in Brendan Rodgers. I think that's one of the best signings the club have ever made, and look, it's a tight-knit group, and the training ground's unbelievable, by the way, the new one. And the stadium, they've got plans for that. So look, the owners deserve full credit, because they came in 10 years ago maybe with a vision to turn the football club into what it is now. So it's been brilliant. It really has. Yeah,
and it seems like you said, they're doing it the right way. All right, let's get on to your career, Dean. Started off as a Brighton youth. Just wanted to ask, how was it you got scouted from Brighton?
Well, playing locally, really. So I'm from a little town called Hastings, which is about an hour from Brighton, and just got scouted. It was actually about 6 of us got scouted on the same day, playing for just a local team, and got asked for a trial at 11 years old, I think. And it was like Nathan said, it was back then. It was like School of Excellence. It wasn't like the academy and all that.
I remember them. School of Excellence, exactly. Maidstone School of Excellence, Margate School of Excellence, Coventry. I remember all of them.
Yeah. You train once a week on like a 3G pitch, which was basically concrete with sand on. Then you play, once a week, and that's what happened. I started at Brighton at 11 years old, went for a 4-week trial, and then never looked back, and ended up signing YTS forms at 16. So that's how it started for me.
Yeah. So what player did you look up to or try and emulate as a youngster?
Oh, well, the player I looked up to, I didn't try to play like him because I didn't have a chance, would be Paul Gascoigne. What a player. And, it was all right. You could do that at Sunday League, try and play like Paul Gascoigne, but when you try and play like him at a high level, you obviously get caught out. So, no, what a player. I mean, used to just love watching him. Technically brilliant. His passion for the game as well. Couldn't tackle, but loved to tackle, and I loved that myself. So he was a player that I really looked up to, and didn't really, I've never really supported a football club myself.
Oh, really?
I used to just follow him around. Whoever he played for, I used to like them. And then a little later on, I like watching Roy Keane as well, because, I mean, what a player he was as well. Two centre midfield players that I love watching, and just their passion for the game, really. That's what rubbed off on me.
Yeah, I mean, they're not too bad role models there in the football side of things. Definitely decent.
Question on that, though, before you move on to the next club, Brighton and Hove Albion. Obviously, the years that you were there, because that was when Bobby joined, isn't it? Bobby Zamora must have just joined them, because I just went to Bristol Rovers and he went there on loan, scored 6 in 6, and then he's like, "Listen, I'm going back." So you must have been with him during that time where, okay, you guys just had a great time. You won the league, got promoted, and moved on, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Bobby came in when I think I was a first year YTS, maybe a second year YTS. So Bobby's a little bit older than me, not much.
Yeah.
But he came in and he was on fire, mate. I mean, came in, you know what Bobby had been like that, really slim, looked young, but loads of enthusiasm, could always finish. He was quick. And you could see straight away, way too good for that level. And the club did really well to persuade him. I think Bobby probably had more options, but wanted to come back because the team spirit at the football club was brilliant. Bit different to nowadays. There was proper men there, put it that way. And it was interesting times. You were on your toes, but it made you grow up pretty quickly. But you know, Bobby settled in. You know, Nathan, he's a confident guy, really confident, nice guy as well. And he had a brilliant career at Brighton. He really did.
Yeah, I just upset I didn't get to play with him, man. I didn't get to play with him enough. I played 2, 3, maybe 5 games in the reserves, and then he went.
Mate, to be fair, it was a good job you two didn't play together because you would have scored a lot of goals, mate.
So when early doors at Brighton, they had a lot of financial troubles. What's the difference, the contrasting difference between then and now, and the kind of things you saw then to what you might see now at Brighton?
Oh, mate, they're worlds apart. I mean, when I was at Brighton from like I say, from 16 to I left at 23, I think. Went back again later on, but look, we didn't have a training ground, so we had to train at Sussex University. So we got the university students got first refusal on all the pitches. We got whatever was left, basically. We didn't have a stadium, so we had With Dean Stadium, which was an artificial stadium that got taken down and put up every season. You know, the seats that were used for the ground got used for the golf, the Open, taken down. There was no funds, but a good team spirit, really, really good team spirit. There was no, so you think of players now that get looked after. We got given free kits at the beginning of the season. That was it. You know, you had to wash it, take it home yourself. I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm just saying what the difference is. No canteen, no food afterwards. I used to stop at the station. You know, get the old drink, Chris, and sandwiches on the old deal on the way home. Oh, mate, it was completely different. But like Nathan said, we were successful. You know, the boys had. I mean, I wasn't a pro at the time, but they had 2 promotions in 2 years playing with that. It just built a real togetherness. And obviously now the club with the stadium, with the training ground, with the funding they've got, with the players they've got, the academy they've got now is completely different. But I'm not going to lie, it was good fun. It was good fun in the first time. It was, there was no one was on big money. No, there was no big egos, loads of characters, like I say. But it was good fun.
Good. And what age did you make your debut for Brighton?
I made my debut at 17 in like the Paints Trophy. I don't know what it's called now, but
St Johnston's Paint Trophy.
Yes, so I made, and at 17 I came on for 20 minutes against, I think it was against Cardiff, you know, and look, I wasn't ready for a first team debut. I think I came on, I went up for a head and I got a massive elbow across my chest. Wow, I'm not sure I'm ready for this. I'm a kid, just out of school. And then I made my full debut at 19 against Ipswich away, which was brilliant experience. Scored after 8 minutes, I think. Look, I can't say it was a great goal. The ball didn't even reach the back of the net.
Take them all.
Just trickled over the line. I think it even came off my shin, to be honest. But I celebrated like I scored in the World Cup final, obviously, like you do.
As you would, though. Of
course you do. We only lose 3-1, so
it wasn't 3-0 at the time, was it?
No, 1-0, mate, after 8 minutes, which was good.
All right.
I should have walked off then, but it was that'll do me. So 17 and 19 was my full debut.
Yeah, and then you went to on loan Colchester. Was that sort of a real sort of education for you?
Well, I had a couple of loan spells before that to Aldershot and to Leyton Orient, which I really, really enjoyed. And then I signed permanently for Colchester at 23, I think it was. And that was great. Loved it. It was a difficult time leaving Brighton, I must admit, because we had a manager in place who was actually my youth team manager previously, and he was first team manager now. And we had a lot of the youth team players that I come through with that were in the first team. So it was a very young first team squad, and I was enjoying the football. I was captain as well, so I was loving it. But the opportunity came to move to Colchester in the Championship, so I wanted to take that opportunity and loved it as well. You know, worked under a good manager in Guy Williams, really, really good coach. Didn't quite work out for him, and then worked under Paul Lambert, which was brilliant. Paul.
How good a coach is he? Because when he got into the Premier League, I think it was Norwich, wasn't it? There's a lot of hype around him, and he had a really good season.
Yeah, I mean, Paul came in and we were struggling at the time actually, and he came in and he was stamped some authority within the group. Put it that way. But he was great. Look, he was a central midfield player. He was obviously a brilliant player for Celtic. He'd won the Champions League with Borussia Dortmund, so he had the full respect of the group. And he was just starting out his managerial career. He'd had a really good time at Wycombe, I think, before that, when they got to the Carling Cup final or the semi-final or something like that, and he'd had a good run. But he was great for me, and he really upped the tempo in training and showed us as players how important it was to win. Made us way more professional, way more organised, and I loved my time with Paul. And he obviously went on to move to Norwich, which it was quite funny. It's an interesting story on that, where we beat him 7-1 on the opening day of the season when we was at Colchester, and he got offered the job after the game in the tunnel by their director, which is good, which is interesting.
I bet he couldn't believe his luck.
Oh, mate, it was one of those, we couldn't believe our luck. We were, not many people go to Norwich and win 7-1 on the opening day of the season. And I think we were 4-0 up at 5-0 up at half time. Clive Platt was up front with Kevin Lisby, and we absolutely tore them apart. Mate. Every time we attacked, we scored. We literally, strangest game, we literally defended in our own half. So we had this, the tactic was every time they got the ball, just retreat to the halfway line, let them have the ball. Every time they come half, try and win it. And every time we won it, we scored. And we only won it 5 times, and we were 5-0 up. I really think it was crazy, and they must have thought like Paul was a magician, or this is new manager coming through. But he got offered the job. I think he took the job 2 games later when he left Colchester, and then obviously got on back-to-back promotions to the Premier League, so it worked. And
Colchester ended up going down today that season.
That was the season after. So the first season we were in the Championship under Guyton Williams, we went down. That was good. Teddy Sheringham was there at Colchester, so that was
How was that playing with him?
Oh mate, it was brilliant. What a guy as well. He's I mean, he was 41 at the time, maybe. Yeah. Ripped as anything. Unbelievable condition.
Because he just left West Ham, didn't he?
Yeah, it was. But it was funny. We used to get changed at the stadium, and then we would train at like the army barracks, which was 20-minute drive away. So all the lads would be sharing cars, getting in each other's cars. Kit would be dirty, and I think he'd never get in Teddy's car. He's obviously got his Bentley. He's just driving there and back. wouldn't even dare ask him for a lift. But, mate, one of the best players in training still, even at 40. The small-sided game,
professional,
and the finishing sessions set the standard. If you was having a six-a-side, you want him in your team. And I learned a lot off Teddy, to be honest, in terms of how important preparation was, how important training was. He just didn't have the legs anymore. It come to 11 aside, and he just couldn't move. But what a player! It's great experience to have that 6 months with him. Really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and then after that, was it you moved to Southampton?
Yeah,
and that was a solid team. That Southampton team. I think you had Punching in there. Yeah. Michael Antonio was in there. Young Michael Antonio, Lambert, Fonte. Even a young Ward Prowse was in that team. You must have seen that this team's going to do something.
Well, it was a joke, to be honest, mate. So I signed for Southampton. It was 2 days after Paul Lambert had left to go to Norwich. So I went to Southampton, and we were minus 10 points in League One. So the club had just missed them. Gone into administration. Alan Pardew was manager. We had a decent team at the time. We had Adam Lallana, we had Morgan Strickland at the time. Radhi Jaidi was there. Yeah. Calvin Davis was there. Ricky Lambert had just signed, and so we started the season okay. It took a bit of time to gel, and in January we signed Jason Punchant. We signed Jose Fonte, Lee Barnard, a couple of other players. Oxlade Chamberlain was coming through. James Ward-Prowse was coming through.
Wasn't Luke Shaw still there?
Luke Shaw was coming through, a couple of years later. I mean,
could you tell these players when they were coming through that they was different level?
Honestly, Adam Lallana, I think, was probably it's tough. I played with some unbelievable players, but he was one of the best players I'd ever played with, if not the best. Just technically unbelievable. I've never seen anyone do a Cruyff turn so well with both feet. It is a joke. His balance was He embarrassed me a few times in training. And like Oxlade-Chamberlain, he came and trained with the first team. He must have been 16. He looked like he was 12 years old, honestly. But he came over, no fear, brilliant player. He was quicker running with the ball than without it.
Yeah.
And you just thought, oh my God, who's this player? Same. Every time one of the players came over, Luke Shaw came over, James Ward-Prowse came over. I was trying to think who else came through. There's loads of players that came through at the time, and just had this real, not arrogance, but real confidence about them. You know, good people, and they've been brought up the Southampton way, I suppose. But they came into the first team very respectful, but like, I'm going to show you what I got, and I want your place. And I mean, it's brilliant. Loved it.
You've got to rate that. You've got to rate that area of confidence.
Yeah, even though like James Ward-Prowse took my place and I got sold by the club. Another story. Yeah. But no, it was, they're good, and it was great. They were a breath of fresh air, mate. They kept you on your toes, loads of enthusiasm, and you want that as well because it helps you and improves as a player.
Yeah, and what was it? Promotions? You get promoted with that team, and you won the St Johnstone's Paint Trophy there as well, didn't you?
Yeah. So the first season under Pards, we won the Paints Trophy. We missed out on the playoffs, I think, by 3-4 points. So we started on -10 and we finished 7th. So we couldn't quite catch up. Then the following season, Pardew left, but we won the Paints Trophy that year. Pardew left at the beginning of that season. Nigel Atkins came in. We got promoted from League One to the Championship, and then the following season we got promoted from the Championship to the Premier League. So we went up 2 years in a row. Yeah. Wow.
And then what is it about Pardew? Because Pardew seems to get a lot out of teams when he gets there, but then seems like after a while it may fade out. But what is it that he gives that team when he first gets in there, especially? Is it like his confidence? Is it as a manager? What is he like?
Yeah, it is. Like he's got a lot of confidence in himself, a lot of self-belief. I really liked Alan. I must admit, his man management skills are pretty good. Improved me as a player again. Gets the team really well organised. So he doesn't do a lot of the coaching during the week, but he would do like the pattern of play on a Friday. He'll get you know exactly what you need to do in a game. There's no grey areas. There's no question marks on what he wants from you, and that helped. He definitely lets you know he's the manager. And he's the main person, put it that way. You don't get a lot of praise off him, but when you do, it means a lot. I think he was there I worked under Alan for about 14, 15 months. Probably got 2 pats on the back in the time, but it meant the world to me when he actually said it to me. And other times I was just thinking, definitely going to get dropped this week, definitely going to get dropped this week. But never did, stuck by me. So I really like working with him, and you know, he had his own ways of working, and some people liked him, some people didn't, but yeah, he's really, really confident, self-assured, I'd say, and when he spoke, you listen, put it that way.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
You know, there's one thing that I always remember in my mind about him, and when we played West Brom, I was at Wigan at the time, and we beat them 3-1 at West Ham, and coming off the pitch saying, you know, well done, and he's like shaking my hand. He's like, I'm going to buy you. I'm like, okay, let's see. So that was, you know, I've never had a manager come up to me and just say it straight. I'm going to buy you.
Do you know what he was like? He would say it straight, and sometimes you think, oh, Jesus, Gaffer, leave it out, will you? But then other times he was class, and he was like that. He's just self-assured now. If he was like really, really confident, and I think you need that in a manager, because you just follow him. Then he leads you, even if you don't like it, and sometimes you get pissed off. You respect it, and I think that's important.
But Nath, what did you feel when he said that to you? Did you not think, do you know what, I want to play for you?
Exactly. It's funny, isn't it? Like, I'm thinking, wow, you know what? That's great, because I now know a manager really likes me. You don't normally know that. You normally get like a club ringing up asking, or someone ringing and asking, oh, would he like to come? But when you get the manager himself, and obviously that was a good team there. It had Anton Ferdinand and the boys up front. There had a lot of players in there that you're looking at going, wow, they could go up, and they were our rivals. So to beat them, and then to know that, oh, wait a minute, if they go up, he'll still want me. It's like, wow, okay, great. But nothing happened in the end anyway. But it's just good to have that, to be fair.
Yeah. And your time at Southampton in the Premier League, good times there?
Yeah, well, the Premier League didn't happen for me at Southampton, unfortunately.
You went to Leicester then.
Yeah, so well, I was captain, so I signed in League One, minus 10 points. I was captain after about 2 or 3 months. Alan made me captain. Paints Trophy, promotion from League One to the champ to the Prem, and then kind of got the Nathan know what it's like as a footballer. Kind of got thanks but no thanks sort of thing. Thanks for getting here, so time to move on. Which is that is the
heart-wrenching.
Yeah, and it's. Look, I had a brilliant time at Southampton. Really grateful, blessed for the time I had. Like, I'd never say a bad word about anyone at the club or the club. Would I have loved the opportunity to play and lead the team out? Of course I would have done. But look, they had some good players. Like we had Morgan Snyder, I mentioned, who was coming into his prime. Jack Court was there. Stephen Davis was there. James Ward-Prowse was there as well. So I wasn't going to get as many opportunities as I wanted. And I got the opportunity to go back to Brighton. So Brighton were in the Championship at the time. Obviously, the new stadium they had, which I'd kind of been promised and seen since the age of 14, 15. So that was a bit of a pull. And to work under Gus Poyet, which was brilliant. Absolutely loved that. And just made the decision. Look, I still had another 2 years left on my contract. So I went on loan to Brighton, and I missed out on that opportunity to play in the Premier League with Southampton, which would have been really, really special, but just wasn't meant to be. And had a great year at Brighton and loved that. I really did.
Yeah, Gus Poyet, a very passionate manager. How was it? How was it playing under him?
Loved it. Do you know what? Gus is so passionate about football. Temperamental at times, but he is brilliant. And again, a great coach. I mean, he could still play as well. He joined.
I was going to say, what was he like on the playing pitch?
He is the best.
He was mustard.
Honestly, he is the best I've ever seen of finishing with his head. I've never seen anyone get so much power in a header. It's a joke. He was a bully. He was a bully in the air. Mate, he was so good. And he used to do it in training and then just give you that look going. And he done. He was but no, he was brilliant. And we had a really, really good season. We had a good mix between the English players and the Spanish boys. So we had some really, really good Spanish players there, and we played some unbelievable football. We finished third in the Championship. I think we drew 16 games. And we missed out on automatic promotion by 2 points. So we should have gone up really, and had the playoffs and lost in the playoffs to Crystal Palace, which was a bit of a blow. But no, Gus was great. Training was class. You know, when you have a manager where you look forward to going into training. The training was really interesting, improving you as a player. Everything with the ball. I mean, everything with the ball. And it was good. Like. But yeah, there was a few interesting moments after games. If we'd lost, that you might be in the dressing room for a couple of hours thinking, leave it out here. But it was he was good. He was one of the best I worked with. He really. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's quality. That's quality. And was it the following season that they went up, or was it the season after that?
Brighton didn't go up for about another 2-3 seasons. I think after Gus left that year.
Because there's the issue with something with the referee in the playoffs or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
There was an incident in the Crystal Palace dressing room, wasn't there? I don't know exactly what it was. But,
my mate works for Palace, so yeah.
There was a story that we'd done something to their toilets in their dressing room.
Yeah.
But the story goes, and what I've been told wasn't their kit man, or is it their kit man or the bus driver was ill. And obviously completely demolished the toilets, and they thought we'd left it in there, and obviously they put the kit in. You know, they put the kit out the kit man 2 hours, 3 hours before, and then they lock the dressing room with everything in and go away. And then obviously everyone's come back and it absolutely stunk because he's just like completely ruined it. And Ian Holloway's played on that and said like, right, this is obviously a good work, and say, look, they've done no respect for us and everything like that, like he did. And they beat us 2-0 on the night. But it was an interesting night. I mean, Gus told us afterwards he was leaving. There was loads going on. He kind of fallen out with the owners at the football club. So there was a few issues going on. So it was like that game, which was so important, and you're supposed to be like so professional, you know, semi-final of the Championship to get to Wembley for the biggest game in like the club's probably history for a long, long time, and there was all sorts going on. So yeah, it was interesting.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So after your time with with Brighton. You moved on to Leicester.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've seen some of the teams there, some of the players there. I think Riyad Mahrez came in the same season that you came in. That must have been something special to see how good he was.
Yeah, so I signed for Leicester in September, I think. So I was still a Southampton player. So I went back to Southampton. Was training in the bomb squad. So there were 6 of us training on our own, which was always fun, I must admit. And then, it's crazy. But look, you get through it, then you try and have a little bit of fun with it. You have a few good nights out, which is always good. And then, I went to Leicester and signed in September. Riyad came in January, but we had some players at that. I mean, obviously Jamie Vardy was there, David Nugent, Anthony Knockaert, Riyad Mahrez, Paul Konchesky, Wes Morgan. I mean, I forget all the names, but
a lot of them are still there now. Like Wes Morgan.
Yeah, we had.
How good a defender he was.
Say that again.
Wes Morgan.
He was a tough defender, mate.
He is a top defender, mate. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think he gets the credit.
I think it's because of his pace. FIFA does no good for any footballers. Trust me.
I can imagine what my pace was. It but Wes was some player. Look, what a guy as well. Nice bloke. Really good captain. But Wes was quick, strong, good in the air. He was really good on the ball as well. Like, doesn't get the credit for that. But he was class, and we had a great squad. And what Nigel Pearson did was he put a small squad together. So he got rid of a load of players. He got rid of, and we only had probably 18, probably senior pros, 19 maybe, and then there was like 4 or 5 youngsters, and that was it. Everyone travelled. We got lucky with injuries, I guess, and suspensions, but we had and the team spirit, mate, was.
I bet.
Was Lloydie with you there?
Say that again.
Was Lloydie there with you?
Yeah, Lloyd there, mate. Mate, what a bloke as well. Mate. He is rapid, mate. I tried to do a gym session when I first went there with Lloydie. Never again, mate. He is an animal in the gym. Mate, he is so strong, so quick. Again, great guy. He used to play left wing. He had Jeffrey Schlupp at left back. Them two flying down the left wing. Oh my God!
Telling you, too much.
It was. We had some team. I think we won. We were promoted with 8 games to go, maybe 9 games to go. But 100 and something points. We were champions with 4 or 5 games to go. So it was.
Good season then.
It was good times. It was
and Nigel Pearson as a manager, good to work under.
Brilliant, loved him. Best, I would say. So we're talking about Gus and different things. Nigel was the best manager I worked under. He was just. He had one of those. He had a presence about him, not out of fear, just a presence. So if he walked in a room, you would listen. If he walked in a room, the atmosphere would change. Honest with you, like really honest. So. If you go and see a manager sometimes and say, look, why am I not playing? What do I need to do? He would tell you. But in a calm way, it would be no aggression. It'd just be, look, these are the reasons, get on with it sort of thing. Prove me wrong.
That's what you want as a player, don't you?
But it's such a simple thing to do, but you don't get it from every manager. You really don't. And again, didn't do a lot on the training pitch, but would be out there watching, do a little bit of shape now and again, left it up to Craig Shakespeare and
you had him
Kevin
as well.
Phillips. Kevin Phillips when he came in as well.
Kevin Phillips joined you as well.
Yeah, he joined you in January. Ria Merz came in.
Everyone.
Oh mate, Kev's a good bloke as well, mate. What a finisher he was. I mean, he's class. Really
top bins, bang, 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 bang. I'm like, it's nothing for you. It's like a side put 5-yard pass. He's like putting top bins for him.
And he was. I mean, Kev was 41 when he came. 40.
Yeah, he was, weren't he?
Yeah.
He doesn't matter.
Because was he a player coach, wasn't he?
So he got the coaching role the next year. So like striker.
So he came as a player.
So when we got promoted he came in January as a player to get us through. Played a few games. Kev came on and scored a couple of goals. Scored a really important goal away at Bournemouth actually. And then he got offered. I think Nigel wanted him to play, like be around the squad in the Premier League, and he would have been. I think he may have been at the time the oldest player to ever have played in the Premier League. Maybe, I think. But he turned it down and said, look, my legs are gone. So they gave him a coaching role at the football club. So he was class, really good.
Yeah,
I like Nigel. He was a good coach as well.
Good person as well.
Good guy, innit? Like, that's what
really
you like, the honesty from a manager. And
yeah,
straight away, even though I didn't even play when he came in, we was on fire. We were winning games for fun. So I was like, you know what? I don't mind this. I don't mind it. The fact that he's killing it with the team that he's chosen. He picked a perfect team with great balance, and we nearly got promoted. So it's nice.
He's calm as well. He's got like a calming presence.
Yeah.
Never really saw him lose his temper. Never really saw him shout. He would say things in a firm way, so you really listen. But there was no real raising of the voice and any arguments or anything. It was like, because what he said made sense. So when someone says something and they explain it in the right way and it makes sense, you can't come back with anything. There's nothing to say.
Exactly.
So he's a character as well. He's a character. Got some story.
I think it comes across in interviews, like you said. You did see interviews where he was asked a question that he didn't like, but he would say it with a sort of intensity, and sort of just to get it through to you, like you will understand this kind of thing. I get what you mean. Was you there under Ranieri then?
Yeah. So good decision by me. So I left. I left the year they won the Prem. So I was on the bench for the first two games. So I was on the bench against, I think we beat Sunderland first game of the season. And then we went away and won at West Ham. But we just brought in Kante, had just come in. So
not bad player.
Yeah, not bad. Not sure I was going to play ahead of him. And then they bought another player in from Switzerland, Gochingler. So spent a lot of money on him. So we had Danny Drinkwater, Andy King, Matty James, myself, Kante, and Gok. And look, my chances were going to be limited, I think. And Claudio came in, and Claudio was really good actually. Look, I was always one that worked hard in training, loved training. Was a decent pro, never going to cause anyone any problems. So he was happy to have me around, couldn't promise me an opportunity. And I wanted to play. I was 33 at the time, coming towards the end of my career. I wanted to play really, and decided to go to Sheffield United because Nigel Atkins was there. Obviously, I had at Southampton, so I thought I'd move on to Sheffield United. But an interesting decision, didn't, because the club went on to win the Premier League. So that would have been nice to be part of.
I mean, like you said, it would have been nice to be part of, but at the time, like you said, you wanted to play. So no one was thinking that Leicester team was going to go on to win the league.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think it's one of those things that you think about now in life, and as you get older, more experienced, and a little bit more, that just taking a bit more time over a decision, maybe pausing over a decision, and really thinking about, look, you can never know exactly what's going to happen, but maybe look into it a little bit more and go, okay, where am I heading here? What's my plan? Why am I moving? Why am I staying? How is it going to affect my career? Would it affect my career? Is it good for the family? Didn't really consider those things, just was quite selfish in my decision, thinking, I just want to play football, which is a good thing, I think. But at the time of my career, at 33, probably might have been a good time to maybe turn into a bit of an impact player, maybe off the bench and be around the squad. And so, look, you look back in hindsight, but I just wanted to play. I love playing football. I really did.
In that year, if you would have stayed there, just from a financial point of view, as a football player, that would have probably set you up for so many more years to come. And then you can look back and go, bloody hell, I wish I would have bloody just stayed for that one last year.
Yeah, mate, I thought of that many times. Don't worry about that. But it's you know what? It's a really interesting point, Nath. The fact that I think during different stages of your career, you've got to consider things differently. I was having a conversation with a friend today, and he's a footballer, and I just said, look, I think us footballers, we always consider ourselves in our prime. So you always think that you're still the best player, you're still the fittest, you can still do this, and you don't kind of really realised that, like, I was 33 at the time. I wasn't going to be one that's going to be playing 40 games a season anymore. I wasn't going to be the best player in training. I wasn't going to be the fittest, and I needed to realise that. And I think maybe if I paused, being a squad player at Leicester, then winning like the Premier League, whether I'd been able to stay at Leicester at the time, it would have still helped my career, because in terms of an asset, let's say, as an agent trying to find me in a club the next year, they could ask the question, well, he's not played many games, and they'd be like, well, Leicester have just won the Premier League. What do you expect? But here's his CV. He's got promotions. He's played in the Premier League. He's got this amount of appearances. It would have been a lot easier for me to get a club, which is a strange situation to be in, where I could have just sat on my arse and done nothing, and it actually would have benefited me more than actually going to risk my reputation and going to play. But at the time, you just don't realise these things.
Yeah, it's one of the things that probably fans don't realise as well, that as a footballer, you still got to sell yourself like as a CV kind of thing. Like you said there, you're with Leicester. They've won the Premier League. You've been a part of that. It's something that will look good for when you're potentially looking at another club as well. So yeah, it's an interesting aspect to look at, man. So after you left Leicester, you went to Sheffield United. What was your time there like back with Nigel Atkins?
Tough, mate. Really, really tough. So I signed there with a similar expectation or a similar plan of trying to replicate what we did at Southampton. So signing in League One and try and get the club back into the Championship to start with, and then push on to try and get into the Premier League. So that's how it was sold to me. That's what the discussions were with Nigel, and that's what I believe. So, and I had a good squad of players. It's a huge football club, Sheffield United. It really, really is. And there's a huge expectation there from everyone within the city and the football club. And it just didn't work out. You know, we didn't start very well. We weren't winning games. That expectation comes from the fans then. And look, I wasn't received too well because my performances weren't very good. Look, I hold my hands up. I didn't play very well. Whatever reason that was, I'm not sure. There's many different factors. So yeah, look, it didn't go great for me, but it wasn't from want of trying. I was always a tryer, put it that way. I just couldn't get my form going as an individual. As a team, we couldn't get any consistency going. I think we ended up finishing 10th in the league, maybe 11th in the league in League One, which is not great for a club like Sheffield United. But yeah, so it was a tough period of my career and a tough period of my life, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Was that because it was sort of coming towards the end of your career and you didn't quite get the game time that you thought you was going to get, and it wasn't kind of ending how you expected it to?
Well, I got the game time. I played every game. Every time I was fit, I played, but I didn't play very well. That was the problem. I think Nigel was too loyal to me, to be honest. And I used to train really, really well, but when it came to a game day, I wasn't mentally fit. I was drained. I was putting too much pressure on myself. I had anxiety in terms of I wanted to play well. There was a real want to play well. Yeah. But when you're not relaxed and you're not playing free and you're thinking about things and it's not natural, you're never going to play well. So that really affected me, and it was tough. It was really, really tough. And, you know, it was my last season in professional football. I was 33, 34 at the time. Never thought it was going to end then. Physically, could still play, definitely, but mentally, I was drained. And my last professional game, like we had our third child the week building up to the last game. I hadn't trained all week. We'd been up all in the hospital and everything, and then trained on a Friday. Nigel wanted me to play. We wanted to finish the season well, and I said, look, I'll play, whatever. Like, I trusted the manager. He said, I want you to play. Didn't play very well. Got taken off at half time, and then you can hear it in the dressing room. So at half time, they'll say Dean Hammond coming off for so and so. It goes over the tannoy. I'd never heard such a big cheer from the Sheffield United fans. So, and from that moment, I think it just triggered my mind. I was like, yeah, I'm done now. Yeah. Kind of got changed, got in my car and drove home. Really, didn't ever go back, which is a bit disrespectful to the players. But it was just the mental state I was in at the time. I was so out of love with the game. Yeah, which was crazy because look, you're talking a year earlier, we just stayed up in the Premier League. I was a Premier League player. To a year later, thinking I'm going to retire from the game.
I want to touch on the bit where you said you was putting too much pressure on yourself. But where do you think that came from? Because I've been in a similar situation. Because the season before and prior to that, you was a top professional. You felt good in your game. You was playing in the Premier League or in the Championship, and all of a sudden you're putting all this pressure on yourself, and you're not performing because you're so kind of tight. Where do you think that came from?
Expectation from myself, to be honest. I've always tried to set myself high standards.
Yeah.
I've always tried to be the best I could possibly be. Fear out of judgment, I think, comparison. The fear that I'd made a poor decision because Leicester were going to win the Premier League. And I could have been part of that squad. Not saying I was going to play, but could have been part of it. And that was affecting me. Judgment from other people. It was difficult because I was not only my football ability was getting judged, my personality was getting judged as well, and I was being perceived as a person I know I'm not, but I can understand why people saw that way, because you get judged on your performances. And I was trying, believe me, I was almost working too hard. So I was tired. I get to a Saturday and I was tired, and I remember doing the warm up thinking, Jesus, I'm struggling here already, and this is before the game. And then you put pressure on yourself, and what I mean is I wasn't living in the moment, so I wasn't playing the game. I was always thinking, as I got the ball, right, what do I need to do? I need to do a really impressive pass. I need to take someone on to prove my reputation, to excite people. That's not my game. I get the ball, I keep it simple, I win the ball back, I give it to the better players, I make other players around me better. But because I wasn't playing well and there was an expectation, because I come from the Premier League, I would still be the same player whatever level I play at. I reckon I could play the same. I wouldn't stand out if I played on a Sunday morning with my mates or I played in the Premier League for Leicester. I would still do the same job. It was just me. That I wasn't the player that was a Riyad Mahrez that was going to get the ball and smash it in. I wasn't a Naif that was going to score lots of goals. I was just centre midfield, very, very reliable, and could do the basics very, very well. So and then I tried to do different things. So I would try that diet. I would try and take someone on. I would try that shot. And as it's coming, I'm thinking about these things. Right, this is what you need to do. That's not how you play football.
That's not natural. Yeah.
The ball comes to you, you play it around the corner, and you don't even know what you're doing. Like someone go, "Oh, what a pass!" You go, "Oh yeah, just saw that." Like that. And that's what was playing on my mind. And then I would work even harder in training. Then I was having issues at home because I felt selfish, because I'd be staying away more because I'm going to stay up in Sheffield to prepare more. I'd be staying away from my family. I got 3 kids. There was just loads going on. That
second guessing yourself.
That's it. Second guessing.
Did you ever check on the clock to count the clock down and stuff like that?
All the time. All the time. Do you know what I used to do? It got to this point where, so before, as you're coming out for the game, you come out for the game, you do like the walk, you do the handshake, you go out, you do like a run around, say like good luck to everyone, blah blah blah, and then the over the tannoy again, the names would be read out. And obviously, Nathan noticed, the more popular players get the louder cheers. The other ones just get I used to be so nervous about what mine was going to be like. Like, I'd just be thinking, this is either going to be pure silence or just a pathetic sort of thing. But that's where my head was. Do you know what? I'm thinking about the game now. I'm so distracted from the game. Where when I was at Leicester, Southampton, Brighton, it was just like, right, I know what I need to do. I'm concentrating on the game. I'm looking at the other players thinking, right, it's me and you today. I'm fitter than you. I'll play better than you. I didn't know anyone was in the ground. When I was at Sheffield United, through my own fault, I was very aware of everyone. And that's not how you play football.
So weird that you say that.
Do you think that came just because you was older? Sorry. Go on.
No,
Go on, though. Sorry, mate.
No, I was just saying it's so weird that you say that, because it brings back memories of things that I used to think. And I just wanted to ask you, like, when you go on the pitch, did you ever look at it and go, I need to make sure this pass gets there? Instead, like, all you're thinking of is, let me make sure it gets there so my manager is happy that it got there. And it's just like a simple 5-yard pass. Yes, I did it. Yeah. Yes, I did it. And then it's like, you're not doing anything else. And it's like, your game's just gone. You're just the same as any other player.
It's just hesitation, indecision. and like that 5-yard pass, and you'd be buzzing with yourself, going, "Oh my God, I've made a 5-yard pass," and everyone would be going, "Any chance you're playing forward?" You're like, "Mate, I just need to keep the ball. I play forward. Don't worry about that." But you're playing this stories going on in your head, and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm trying to play professional football here, and I'm thinking like this," and you do, and then you're very aware of, like, I don't know, you play a good pass, say, and you're thinking, "Oh, I wonder if I get a clap for this, or the crowd are going to like this."
Wow.
And they don't, and you think, "Oh fuck, oh shit, what's going on here?" And it's like, I'm thinking, "Oh my God," I come off the game and I'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm drained. I'm so drained. So drained."
I think people need to be made more. I don't know. I think just as a whole, the awareness on that needs to be a lot more clearer. I don't know whether they get sort of mental side of things in football. I'm sure they do now, but yeah, it's a thing. Which, as I said, I had that same issue. I got to a point in games where I was counting down the clock, how long there was. I'd make a save, and then I'd be thinking, okay, but I made that save, but it only clicked my fingers. That could have clicked my fingers and got. So you're overthinking things, overanalyzing things. It's a horrible place to be, and I was pretty much the same. I finished playing not long after that as well, because it is. I totally understand where you're coming from. It's draining. In the end, I wasn't enjoying it, and that's why I stopped.
I was going to say, don't you think it's an adjustment? Like, you go from a player that's playing all the time, every week, then you getting older, you don't feel the difference of ability change. So your ability is, let's say, up here, and it starts going down, but you can't see it because you're the one in it. But then you know what level you should be, but you're not reaching there. That's when you start feeling that, I need to be there. But I'm not. I'm going down. And that's where you need to kind of realize in your head, I'm not that guy anymore. I need to accept that I might not be playing every week. I need to maybe accept that I'll be a squad player now and all of that. And that's the kind of stuff is very hard to take when you still feel like you can do it, yet you can't.
It's crazy, because when I was younger and I used to look at older players, and you'd notice that, think, "Oh, what's happened to him? Like, he was some player," or he'd do it in training, it'd come to a game day, and you think, "What's happened to him on a game day?" And also I used to look at more experienced players and go, I look forward to getting to that stage in my career, because it looks like you can enjoy it. It looks like you can go out in your career and enjoy them last moments. Not so much stress to think I've got to play every week. I'll be on the bench. I can come on. I can be, training is not so intense. I can be, and I was like, I really look forward to those moments. It's never. It doesn't even. That's not how it happens. Because you're always pressing for. I need to get back to that person I was. Yeah. I need to get back to that fitness level. I need to, and you just can't, because look, it's human nature. As you get older, you deteriorate, and I think that's the biggest thing. It's understanding it and being aware that you're not the person you used to be, and being okay with that and adapting your game. Then you see a central midfield player that's maybe an attacking central midfield player, then he goes to a holding midfield player. A holding midfield then goes to a centre half, and they kind of just. You see that development, and I always had that in my mind. Like, that's what I'll do. I might drop down, but I still enjoy my football. It'd be great. I'll go into something else, and I'll use football as a bit more fun than an actual career, and go out and play till I'm 40. That's what always my dream was. But it never. I think the difference is if you play professional football, you're a brilliant player, because it's such a small percentage of people that do it. Now, if you get to the height, you keep going higher and higher. It's even less. But to get to the standard of being a professional footballer, to the levels are, it's not in your character to be like that anyway. Otherwise, you wouldn't make it. If you were like that anyway, exactly. I don't really care, and I'll just do as I do, you won't make it. Even the players that act like that don't really feel like that. There's a drive inside of them. There's a determination to always be the best, always competitive. That's why it always kicks off in training all the time, because everyone's competitive, no matter what you're playing. So I think it's easy to go, I just enjoy my career at the end. It'll be a bit of fun. But you get the young kid running past you and making you look silly. That competitive soon comes out. Don't worry about that.
That's why I get injuries now. Like, trying to stay up with the young guns, and they're just ripping past me, and I can't move. Like, pull my calf.
So once you moved on from Southampton, what was it like coming to terms with your career ending?
Tough. because I planned for to play for a lot longer. In terms of my structure of my life. Financially, I've been planning for a little bit, maybe, but I always had the plan. My ambition was always my career ambition was to get to the Premier League and play in the Premier League, and I did that. But then my ambition was to play till I was 40 years old, you know, just keep playing, enjoy football, and try and slowly introduce what I was going to do next. But when I made the decision to, like I mentioned, we had our third child, and the other two had not been there for that much because I'd been so committed to my career. I took the decision to take 3 months out. I said, look, I'm going to spoke to my agent, I'm going to take 3 months out. I'm going to spend a bit of time with the kids, and then I'll try and get back in, which is a stupid decision to make because you get forgotten in football very, very easily. There's always younger players. There's always other players. And I'd had a really poor season. So it was a poor decision to make. And I think I made it because I didn't really want to go back in. I think I was drained, and I wasn't being honest with myself. I kind of made an excuse. And I struggled. I really, really struggled. I struggled with purpose. I struggled with structure in my life because you come out of, you come out of education school as a 16-year-old, and you go into football. And I've been doing football for 18 years. I've been told what to do, where to be, what to wear, what to eat, how to act, how to behave, and then suddenly got all this freedom and flexibility. It's very, very dangerous when you haven't got anything to concentrate your mind and turn to a bit of drink. If I'm honest, I was never a huge drinker in my career, but when I went out, I had a good time, but I didn't go out that much. But yeah, just you turn to drink because life came a little bit easier when I had a drink inside me. I came a little bit more relaxed. I could get that feeling back of being myself, and just lost all direction. I really, really did, because I didn't know what to do. I was scared. I was embarrassed with how my career was finished. Didn't want to
people asking you where you're at and stuff like that, what club you're at, and you're not anywhere. Yeah,
and I run away from it. And I'm at a time of my life, like, I can do what I want now. Let's go out for a drink, and like being the lad about town, and kind of associating with people that I didn't really want to associate with, were not a good influence on me, and struggled really. And it hit home when I just lost that identity as a footballer. You know, and someone came up to me, a fan, I think it was about 6 months since I played, and he just he said, "Oh, you're Dean Hammond, aren't you?" And like for a split second, I said, "Oh yeah, used to be." And obviously, just because I associate myself as being a footballer, Dean Hammond is a footballer. He's not a dad. He's not a husband. He's not a friend. He's not a son of my parents. I didn't believe who that was. So I'd lost all my focus, purpose, and I just didn't know. I was like a little kid again. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. So how did you manage to sort of get things back on track? Was it your time back at Leicester?
Yeah, that really, really helped. I mean, that's what I talk about, having purpose. Leicester were great with me. I went back in, and so I got a call from the 23s manager. The 23 team were struggling at the time. They were bottom of their league, and really wanted to stay up. They had loads of injuries. And he said, "Look, can you come in and speak to the boys?" Because I got on well with everyone at Leicester. I still had really good friendships and with the coaching staff and the players. And said, "Look, will you come in and speak to the boys?" I said, "Look, yeah, of course, no problem." Went in and spoke to the boys for a couple of days. Obviously, was still fit. He said, "Look, do you fancy training?" Because like players learn off players when they're playing alongside them. I think, you know, when you can demonstrate, you can show them exactly what they're going to do within the moment. So he said, "Look, will you train?" So I said, "Look, of course, let me train. Come in and train." That turned into 3 weeks of training. He said, "Look, do you fancy playing?" And I was like, because obviously you can play overage players. And I was like, I don't really fancy this. Like, my head wasn't in the right place. He said, "Look, we need you to play. Look, we've got no players." So I played. Ended up playing the last 10 games, and we ended up staying up. So I got a real buzz. It was brilliant. It was one of the best.
Get the taste back.
Oh, mate, it was class. But it was one of the best 6 months I'd ever had. And I was around the group again. Like, Leicester training grounds was small at the time. They got the new one now, but the old one's small. So I was around the first team players again, eating in the canteen. Felt like one of the lads. Trained with the 23s. No pressure, no expectation. Buzzing. Wasn't getting paid, but it was all for free, and loved it. I was still living in the area. We ended up staying up, and I just loved it. I loved every minute of it, being around the young boys again. And then got offered actually in the summer, got offered to go back in by about 3 or 4 clubs, because obviously they see you play and everything. I got a phone call actually after the first game. We were actually playing against Brighton in a friendly for the 23s, and done all right, played okay, looked all right, looked fit, and there was an agent in the stand and said, look, he rang me the next day. I know him pretty well. He's from where I live now. He's like, mate, he said, look, do you fancy coming to Swindon and playing? Like, we'll give you a 2-year deal.
2-year deal?
Yeah. I was like, just nah, I don't know. Let me have a think about it. He said, look, we'll give you this money. And I was like, it's not, look, nah. He said, look, all right, I'll give you a bit more. I was like, I'm not negotiating, mate. It's not like me trying to get some more money out. I'm not sure. And didn't sign because I was enjoying it at Leicester. And the money weren't great, by the way, but it was, it was, so yeah, played the rest of the season, had the summer, got about 4 phone calls in the summer, said, look, will you come and sign for us? Will you come and play for us? And for some reason, I just didn't want to. Whether it was still, I was still like, had the effects of that last season at Sheffield United, whether the confidence wasn't there, whether I wasn't ready at South City, whether I wasn't ready to play in front of a crowd again. Because the 23s, it's just brilliant football. There's no crowd there, there's no expectation. And didn't do it. But luckily enough, Leicester offered me the loan manager's role, which I loved. Absolutely loved that role. It was really, really good. So I took that role for about 8 months.
So what's that doing?
So loan manager role is class. So basically, you look after the loan players that go out on loan. So the Leicester players that go out on loan. So for instance, I had Harvey Barnes as a West Bromwich. So I would speak to Harvey. I would watch his games. I would analyse his games. So I'd clip his games. Well, I wouldn't clip his games because I can't use a computer, mate. But I'd get people to clip the games for me and say, this was a good bit, this was not a good bit, how we can improve, blah, blah, blah. Speak to the Leicester manager, the director of football, speak to the manager at West Brom, and just have a really good relationship. So you're almost like a bit of a mentor. You're the middleman. It's sometimes hard for a young player to go into a dressing room that they're not used to, that are full of blokes.
And they can feel lost as well, but they're not at their club.
And they just need someone that don't want to go to the manager, the 23. They don't want to go to the first team manager because they don't want to be looked as though they're weak or they're not. There's someone in between that they can have a chat with, and it was class. I did that, like I say, for 8 months, and then my wife had a back operation, so I had to give the role up, and I looked after the kids for about 6 or 7 months, which again I loved. But because I did that, I lost my purpose again and then lost my way again. So as long as I had something in my life and I was back in football, I was fine. Like, stopped drinking again. Like when I was at Leicester, back at Leicester, didn't touch a drop, didn't drink at all. And then came out of it again and just felt lost again, started drinking again. And it started kind of spiraling from there again. So, yeah, it's really, really interesting. But the Leicester role was brilliant.
A lot of players have said over their careers that the downtime from football, so you'll be at training from 10 till 2, and then the rest of the day you've got free and you've got money. So that downtime is usually a time where people just struggle with things to do, and you could sort of lose your way. Do you think you could be better prepared in that downtime for when you're out of football, when you've retired? Do you think clubs could do something to sort of teach you things to do, a hobby or something? Because it's very much a thing in football. It's like you have to concentrate on football, have no distractions. Anything out of football is a no-no. And it's like, but does that really need to be the case?
Look, I would have said up to about a year ago, I would have said you couldn't do that. But I really, looking back and reflecting on my career and understanding myself a little bit more, I think you could definitely do that. So you get a lot of time as a footballer. Yes, look, I can only speak about myself. So I was the type of player that needed to be dedicated to my football, to get everything out of myself, to get to the level or compete against the players at the level I got to, because I needed to be fit. I needed to be disciplined. I needed to eat the right things. I needed to do extra training. So it was quite easy from that point of view for me. So I didn't have the distractions. But looking back on my career, yes, I wouldn't say that you could go out and be a player that going, right, I'm going to go and qualify for this, and I'm going to go and get an education in this, and because I think that can become a distraction. But what you can do, I think you can find out what you're interested in. I think you can really find out and go, well, what could I do when I finish playing, or what could I do to help me relax away from football, whatever that is, whether that's reading about what you want to get into. So some players get into property, right? Can I read about property? Can I watch some webinars? Can I speak to some people? But as long as it doesn't distract you from your career, you're not going and doing a university degree where you've got to get your studies in and you've got to and it puts extra stress on you. It's more just figuring out what you want to do in life and what you're interested in, because I didn't know what I was interested in when I finished playing, because that was my problem. I was just so like tunnel vision in football, and that's all I knew and all I wanted to know. But when I came out and like, well, what do I do now? Like, I didn't give myself a chance to really consider that during my career. And I think like players do have that time, and it's just figuring out, and it's talking to people. You know, go to older players, former players. Well, what did you do? You know, what are you interested in? Listen to their experiences. I think that's where we all let each other down. You know, within the football 100%. Industry, of not speaking out, because we all feel as though, look, we have to be seen as like, I'm all right. Look, of course, I've got this all figured out. Don't worry about me. Look, I'm sound, and everyone's like that. When really you're all like, not sure what I'm doing here. I don't feel too confident in myself. Would love a chat with someone, but who do I chat to?
And I think there's a lot more people that. I think there's a lot more people that are out there that do need someone to reach out to have that chat with than there isn't.
Yeah. 100%, and it's. Do you know what it is? It's finding someone who's neutral. So it's difficult within a dressing room. It really is to reach out to someone and go, "Look, mate, I'm struggling here," or
you think you'd be judged.
What would you do? Yeah, exactly. Comparison, being judged. Someone seeing a weakness in yourself and taking advantage of that weakness, and look, that's fine. You understand the industry, you understand the environment, but having someone away from football that's not going to judge you, I think, is really important. Just to let steam off, because I think a great tool is, and one thing I've learned better about myself is to listen to other people, and just even if it's a podcast like this, even if it's just having a group chat with people and just listening to their experiences, it's brilliant, because you can get so much information from it, and it makes you feel better. Not because you want someone else to have struggled, but it makes you at peace to go, oh Christ, someone else is feeling like
it's not just me. It's not just me.
It's not.
And I think that's where people do feel. A lot of people out there do feel that it's just them. And if they had that sort of, oh God, there is someone else who's been through that situation, it does make it easier. They kind of have a direction, maybe not the same direction as that person went, but it gives them an option.
It makes people relatable again, and you build a trust. If we all tell our own story and we was honest, like now, I've got no. I'll say what happened. Got nothing. Got no worries about speaking out now. But it's taken me a long time to get to this point. I'm 4 years retired now, and I'd probably say in the last 6 months I've been willing to just look. And I haven't got an amazing story. There's nothing amazing about me of what I've done or achieved or got through. But I've got a story that can be relatable to someone who's thinking, yeah, I'm feeling like that, or I think I'm probably drinking a bit too much here, or I've not really got purpose, or I'm coming towards the end of my career and I'd actually like to play on, but my confidence is low. I don't feel good about myself. And you can just come up with a few ideas and just think, well, you could do this. Or the best thing in the world is to speak to a former player and go, do you know what I'd do differently if I had my chance again? And you could be speaking to someone in that situation, and they might not agree with you. They might not like it, but they can take an idea away from it and go, okay, maybe I could do that. And it's just having that confidence to just open up a bit, that vulnerability, which is, I think, a plus. It really is.
No, you're 100% right. So what is it you're doing now to sort of have that purpose to yourself? Are you doing any coaching or anything? Do you do something outside the game?
Do you know what I'm doing? I'm taking the front of doing loads of stuff to find out what I want to do again. So I think you only find out what you want to do by doing everything. And it's almost, I'm going through a process of ticking off stuff I don't want to do. So, but I only find out by trying it. So I've done some one-to-one football coaching, which I loved, but it didn't fit in with my lifestyle with the kids and stuff like that. So I've tried that and really, really enjoyed it, but it doesn't work for my life. I'm trying the media work, which I love, working back at Southampton, being back in football and analysing games, doing a bit for TalkSport, a bit for Leicester. It's brilliant. It really is. Where that goes from here, I don't know, but that'll be interesting. I've got my own fitness platform now because fitness saved me, if I'm honest. Fitness gave me back that structure in my life. And I always work out.
Mental health.
Yeah, I work out every morning, whether I want to, I don't want to, because I know what the feeling is like afterwards. So I've got that. I do a little bit in property. So I'm doing a little bit of stuff in everything and just gradually just trying to find that love and that purpose again that I had for football and trying to put that smile back on my face as much as I can, because look, you only get one life. This is not a rehearsal. We're not learning how to get another go. you gotta. I've had my down periods, and that helped me. And I wouldn't. Do you know what? I wouldn't change it because I wouldn't be the person I am today. It's tough when you go through it. But yeah, I'm just trying loads of stuff and speaking. Do you know what I'm doing as well? I'm speaking to a load of former players and just getting there, listening to their messages, listening to their journeys, and seeing if we can put something together that can help that younger generation or them players that are about to come out through the game and go through that transition. Because look, we see it a lot. I think it's in males, 18 suicides a day, I think it is, which is mental. Within the football industry, I think 1 in 3 are either bankrupt, divorced, or have suicidal thoughts within 3 years of finishing the game. That needs to change. That really does.
And I think what's important is it's you doing these things now because it's something that you guys didn't have when you was coming through. So if you can give that to the next generation, then hopefully that'll be something that continues on. So yeah, definitely good to do that, man. Dean, brilliant interview. Absolutely loved it. Quality. Definitely love to have you on again.
Anytime.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on, man. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Great to meet you.
It was like therapy at one point for me.
do you know, it's funny you say that because every time we do a podcast or I speak to other footballers, that's what I get out of it, therapy. And I learn something. And, you know, that you always get something, even if it's small or big, you get something out of it. We spoke to James Coppinger the other day. Obviously, he's just retired after, 700 games and stuff. I mean, he's got a brilliant story. He really has. And the way he thinks now and the way he's fought during his careers, and he's ready to retire. And you can learn a lot of him. He's a brilliant person. He's got a great story.
All right, we'll have to try and get him on then.
Amazing stuff.
All right. Thank you very much again, Dean. Thank you, everyone who joined us. Make sure you give Dean a follow. Dean, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Loved it.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks a lot, Dean. Thanks a lot.
All right, sweet. Thanks for coming on, man.
No problem.
All right, take care. All right, bye.
Bye now.
Oh, all right. Thanks for Dean Hammond for coming on there. Brilliant show. Absolutely brilliant show. People in the comment section, thank you for joining us. People out live, thank you for joining us. Nathan, thank you for joining us. Steve, just give us a thumbs up. Steve has been there, full support in the background, clapping, nodding, fists pumping. You can see his facial expressions. That's all we needed. Thank you for joining us, Steve. He said 2 thumbs up. All right. Through wind, rain, or shine, Steve K will be there. Do not question his commitment. All right, people, hit the like and subscribe button. As I said, thank you very much again for Dean Hammond for joining us. It was a little bit of therapy for me. Any players out there, any former players, pro players, amateur players, semi-pro players, I know you had the same feeling as Dean was talking about there. So yeah, reach out, speak. Don't suffer in silence, people. All right. On that note, thank you for everyone for joining us. Peace out, people. Stay safe.